4,000 years ago, it goes like this.
Yeah.
It's a completely,
Flat.
I mean, it's moving a little bit up and down. And then suddenly, bang, and it's not even a hockey stick, because a hockey stick goes like that. It goes straight up.
Yeah.
If you look at it in that time scale, and the question is really, what happened there?
Okay.
And what happened there was innovation, science, and technology. Our water is technology. We swim in technology. It's everywhere around us. If you wake up one morning and there is no electricity, there's not water in the pipes, the tram doesn't go, there is no radio, there is nothing, no internet, you realize that there was something disappeared that you didn't notice before. If Europe wants to shape its own future, it needs to shape the technology that shapes the future.
Europe is not behind of AI because we lack talent or resources, but often it gets funded in meetings, in bureaucracy, but not in actual products. That's my take. Maybe Morten has a different take. Today my guest is a very intelligent academic, innovator, founder, Morten Irgens, and we will talk about myths of AI, superintelligence, GPU as oil, whatever Europe can catch up with the rest of the world. He's been in forefront on this for many years as a vice rector, dean in many universities, academic institutions, 15 years in Canada, PhD, the European-led and Norwegian-led AI innovation initiatives like NORA, Clara, ADRA, so you'll tell all about that. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Now, it's a lot we can talk about here. I thought we could start a bit with talking about how technology is driving geopolitics, because it's a really current topic right now, and it's a topic I've been working on for the last 8 years. Actually, 8 years ago, when we established first Claire, we changed name later to Cairn because a big American tech company told us that if we didn't do that, they would sue us. Suddenly, we got this information a couple of years ago, so I had to change the name, but it's a bit ironic, actually. But it was because Ursula von der Leyen, when she was jogging for her first period as president of the European Commission, she basically announced kind of a massive investment scheme for AI in Europe. She was saying that AI was a key to meeting the long-term goals for the European Union. And we were looking at that and we thought two things. First of all, that's a massive understatement. It's not about reaching future goals. It's about securing the future of Europe and securing the financing our welfare systems and our way of life. It's much more than future goals. And the other point that we thought was that, well, if you're going to put so much money into the system, there's an infinite number of ways that
Europe has been very well known of how they put money
yes, that's true. But it's an infinite number of ways of wasting that money, and a very few ways of doing it right. So we asked the question, okay, if von der Leyen and the Commission is going to invest in a strong AI push in Europe, and we're talking about this was in, 2019, if they are going to do that, who are they talking with? The Commission at that point had this misunderstanding that there was an AI sector in Europe they could talk with. It doesn't exist. It didn't exist, and it still doesn't exist, really. So what the Commission... So we thought, let's get the scientists of Europe together and the technologists together and create a voice for them in Europe, and create a voice that we could use to talk to national governments, to talk to the Commission, to talk to the Parliament, etc., to talk with industry, to engage industry and say, we have insight into this. We understand the technology. We have worked on it for years and years and years. Now, if you want to do this, here's somebody you can talk with. So that was why we established Cairn all these years ago. And then as a side effect of that, I took the initiative to establish NORA, which is the Norwegian equivalent of Cairn, because you need a European organization, needs national organizations to draw on and talk with. Now, I think that over the years, Cairn has become possibly the largest network of AI scientists in the world. Cairn has several thousand what we call supporters that are scientists that signs up for our vision.
Yeah.
But we also have membership for research labs, whether they are in industry or in academia. And I think we have almost 500 research labs as members. Now, if you multiply that with the number of people, you get a large number. So this is a strong voice for...
But do they listen? The Commission often asks your opinion, or they have different ways how they operate?
Well, that's very interesting. That's a long story. But I can... They started it trying to establish it based on an existing... Okay, the Commission often establish a partner in a public-private partnership where the Commission is the public partner. And then it's a way for them to have somebody to talk with without having to talk to 5,000 different companies, for instance. So in telecom, it's natural. They come together, they establish this. Yeah. But in AI, there was not any AI sector to draw on here. So they first tried to establish it based on two existing partnerships, one in data and one in robotics. And when we pointed out that
not exactly AI,
there wasn't AI competence in that, and we made a bit of a stink about it. Was invited to a large meeting. That was supposed to last for the whole day in Brussels. I flew down there, and half an hour into the meeting, the person from the Commission who was leading the meeting invited me to leave the meeting.
Oh!
But I said no. I flew down here from Norway, from Oslo. I'm not leaving. So I didn't leave the meeting. And then we had discussions the whole day, and it ended up with several AI organizations being invited in to establish what became ADRA. So a number of organizations established ADRA to create a channel to the Commission that includes the AI organization ELIS, great organization, Cairn, great organization, EU Robotics, and Your AI, and together we initiated that, and we worked pretty hard to get it up and running.
So I think like general public and the scientists, even when you work with scientists, even sometimes don't realize that these like power games. Basically, I mean, like there is existing associations, existing interests. There is a new funding, and then existing interests, right? New funding, existing interests, and then it's not aligned exactly with AI, right? But still they want the funding. Yeah. So and then you need to fight your way in, because nobody will.
Yeah, and you know, I just mentioned that now ADRA is. Acronym for AI Data and Robotics Association.
You included
so we brought this together, so we could build towards embodiment of AI as well. It's very nice, but it's hard to work with the Commission, and it's hard on several layers because AI. There's no huge AI companies or tech companies in Europe.
Unfortunately,
really, no. But there's a lot of a lot of great
It is.
startups, scale-ups, smaller companies that could potentially disrupt existing markets and could create a new layer now in Europe. The problem is that they don't have time for sitting in meetings with the Commission.
Yeah.
They don't have, and then so you populate these
Meetings.
partners, the partnerships with the Commission, with large companies, because the small companies and the startups don't have time for that or interest to do that. They need to meet their goals.
Have you seen Americans there as well already? Yeah.
So anyway, so that was ADRA, and so that was the three organizations: CARE, NORA, and ADRA, and then other organizations that are working hard to lift Europe's or to help in creating a new strategy for Europe. And there's a lot we can talk about that.
No, I totally. I at least I myself, like coming also from academic and commercial background, like thankful that for you and people like you fighting for these things in a European level. As in the news headlines, it seems that Americans like Meta is here. They are actively lobbying their interests. So there's a lot of like Google, like those guys. But we should, we should address that very seriously. But let me start now. Yeah.
Well, we already started.
Yeah,
but,
sure. Let's continue.
But I would like to make a point. Yeah. Why is this so important? And in order to say why it's important, I need to say why technology is important. AI is a technology, but it's so let's look at the population growth of the last 4,000 years.
Okay.
Yeah, like 4,000 years ago, it goes like this. Yeah. It's completely. Flat. I mean, it's moving a little bit up and down, and then suddenly, bang! And it's not even a hockey stick, because a hockey stick goes like that. It goes straight up. Yeah. If you look at it in that time scale, and the question is really what happened there?
Okay.
And what happened there was innovation, science, and technology. Anything, steam engine,
medicine.
Telegraph, medicine. Blah blah blah. AI in the end. So we grew from quickly to 8 billion. Yeah. This is technology, and we have seen that before. I mean, when humankind, it's innovation. When humankind started to agriculture, we went from this many. A few 100,000 to a few millions. And so we have moved through these plateaus, and every point where this changed, it was because of human ingenuity, it was because of innovation, creating tools and technology.
And by the way, the one interesting thing that often is, I think, overseen, as they like to say, you build on top of other like giants, on the shoulders of giants, and you build systems, and then there's it's almost like a linear progress. But what you're saying, and what I think we can see, that it happens like with these huge jumps. It's not like you can extrapolate linear progress, right? And now,
so what happens then? If you look at that, we see that innovation is a driver for human development. Yeah. Technology is a driver for human development. Actually, humans live in symbiosis with technology. Yep. You cannot define humankind without talking about technology. We use tools, we use technology. Yep. Technology is what makes us human. Yep. Now, technology shapes also our understanding of the world. Yep. When the clock tower started to arrive in European towns, it wasn't that we started to say, "Oh, I'm going to meet my neighbor at 1 o'clock." This is not what happened. What happened was that it changed the way we understood reality. It changed the way we looked at the universe ourselves. Suddenly, the universe was was a clock.
Yep.
It was clockwork. The society was clockwork. Human functions were clockwork. The mind was clockwork. And God was the great watchmaker, clockmaker. So it totally changed. And then we have had other defining technologies later. How did Frankenstein bring his monster to life? With electricity. It was the big thing. And now we are all computers. We understand the world around us as that. So technology is not only something we use, it is something that changes us deeply. Now, I'm gonna, have you heard a story about the two fish that were out swimming in the sea? It was a beautiful day. The sun was shining through the water mirror, and on their way swimming, they met an elderly fish who said as he swam by, "Hi boys, how's the water?" And then they moved on, and one of these small fishes said to the other, "What's water?" And of course, this is a metaphor. Our water is technology. We swim in technology. It's everywhere around us. If you wake up one morning and there is no electricity, there's not water in the pipes, the tram doesn't go, there is no radio, there is nothing, no internet, you realize that there was something disappeared that you didn't notice before. And there's two things to be said about that. That technology is everywhere and that technology is shaping our lives and our surrounding and ourselves. This technology is foreign. That's number one. So you can say that if Europe wants to shape its own future, it needs to shape the technology that shapes the future.
We don't want to swim in some kind of aquarium from other...
Correct.
Yeah.
The other things to be said about this technology is everywhere is that AI is becoming part of all technologies. Gradually. Gradually it's AI that is controlling the control systems for electricity, for water, for whether you're getting your paycheck or not, for everything. Without technology, we don't have a defense. We don't have a military. We don't have anything. And AI is controlling over time all of this. And then it becomes extremely important to look at, do we actually develop this key core technology? And the answer is we don't.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Now, the large tech companies...
Wait. So you're saying, okay, I agree. You have a point. You want to go there. Let's go there. But okay, we live in Europe. You've pointed out exactly that we live in not our own aquarium, basically. So not this water doesn't flow from our sources, unfortunately, right now. But you mentioned funding. So the European Union funds these huge gigafactories, the GPUs, and it seems, at least from me, my perspective, like they magically think that if you pour in like funding and for GPUs, suddenly we will be competitive, or what's happening there? What about that direction?
There's so much to be said about that. Number one, Europe is intending to invest and are investing in 5 to 6 AI gigafactories, compute centers for AI. Each has between 100 and 300,000 GPUs.
And huge GPU data centers.
Yeah, but what does 100 to 300,000 GPUs times 5, what is that? That's not that many.
Americans, do you know numbers?
Yeah, so I think, no, I don't remember, but I think Google and Meta each has between 2 and 4 million GPUs each, and this is just 2 companies. Yeah, and then you have Amazon, and you have, you have this long list.
Well, let's don't forget about EU bureaucracy layer on top of these.
No, I don't think we should point at the EU. No, I think that's wrong. Honestly, we don't have anything else today than the European Union, and the problem is not the European Union, actually, the Commission. The problem is national governments, and you and me. If we don't stand up and make the change and governments in Europe today, they just when it comes to these things, they just point at the Commission.
Exactly.
But they haven't given the Commission or the European Union the mandate to do the change.
It's such a good point. I love it. Like it's always easy to point fingers, right?
Yeah.
It's difficult to point finger at yourself, like what you're doing about it. But you're doing it. You're going and with these associations, organizations, and trying to change things, right?
Yes. But I think what it needs to be done is we got more and more over these years clear that there's no point in pushing for change in the Commission if the Commission doesn't have the mandates and the functions to do this the best possible way. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
The Horizon program, basically, if it didn't distribute. If you put a lot of money in and you don't, and you sent all that money to a few countries that were leading in science in Europe, all the other countries would say, "I'm not going to pay for this anymore."
Yep.
So the end result is that you need to spread things thinly out, and spreading things thinly out is not a recipe for becoming world leaders.
Yep.
You get some really good scientists, some really good research groups. And Europe has fabulous research groups, some fabulous universities, but the AI gigafactories are not going to become a European Apollo program, because you need to put a lot more money in, and you need to focus, and you might need to also concentrate efforts physically, geographically, and that you already know that that's not going to work, because 9 out of 10 European nations would be against that. That's clearly really a challenge. So I do believe that we need what you call member state initiatives.
That's why you're doing NORA, right?
Well, no, NORA is an organization, but I believe that. For instance, I give you an example. So we're sitting here in Norway now. Yeah. Yes. The Kalmar Union was a union of the Nordic countries from around 1400 to 1530.
Baltics as well. Some
yes, and if you look at the Nordics and the Baltics, they together would be the 10th largest economy in the world. They would be substantial. They would have a GDP of $2.2 trillion. They would be a leader in Europe, and they would have a permanent seat at G20 and significantly more leverage than what they have separately. But we can hardly talk together. We cannot even get a faster rail between Göteborg and Oslo. It's impossible, because it has to cross a border.
Oh, there is a disagreement, or even in such
It's
things?
just that every political drive today is very national. So I believe that we should see a Kalmar Union of technology, of science, innovation, technology. We should get rid of our national research councils and have a Nordic Research Council only. We should pool our money. That would serve each country much better, and that would be an amazing member state initiative.
So the fragmentation right now is one of the issues that is lagging us behind, right?
Well, if you If you look at there's a lot of startups says that there's not much money in Europe for investing in new initiatives. But it's not true that it's not a lot of money in Europe. There's a lot of money in Europe, but it flows to United States. And the Norwegian. I mean, do you know who's the largest tech investor the largest European tech investor? Oh, you're
some
thinking
kind of traditional, some kind of industry.
It's the Norwegian oil petroleum
I was
fund.
not far away.
Petroleum fund. But the petroleum fund is the mechanism that Norway used to invest for the future instead of putting it into the economy. And if you look at the tech investments of the Norwegian Petroleum Fund, 80% of those investments are in United States.
Wow.
Only 5% in Europe. And why? And it's not unique for the Petroleum Fund. You have the same with the Danish pension funds and all across Europe. They put the money where they get highest return on investment.
Yeah.
And the highest return on investment you get by investing in the States. And why? Because it's a joint market.
Yeah, centralized. Yeah,
it's a joint market.
Market, yeah.
Well, so you can grow tech companies fast and large, but if you establish a tech company in Europe, you cannot grow it past the national borders. You have.
It is true. Like it's like for those who are not in Europe, like it's even hard them to comprehend when you go with like some kind of startup company to America. Like they look at your strategy, right?
Yeah.
And their companies have like you do like small feature, right? And you have like infinite depth of market. Here you have like you build like 10 features. You try to cover as much as you can, and just to survive, because like otherwise, like like it's not, like you say, joint market. It's not But
it's interesting because like in 2024 we got several important reports. I mean, when there's a crisis, the Commission writes a report, and that sounds really not very aggressively forward-looking, but actually the deep and structural and important changes in Europe has started with a report. Each of them had a report that made things happen. Now in 2024 we got a very important report by Enrico Letta.
Okay.
On the common market.
Okay.
Then we had a report from Ursula von der Leyen saying what kind of strategy she intended for her second period.
Okay.
Then we got Mario Draghi's report, and then we got a report on the next framework program, and we got a report on the Europe's defense industry by Minister. Now, the most fascinating and important one was the first, Enrico Letta. He basically pointed out that the common market in Europe was established in a context where we still had an image of a Soviet Union, even if we just moved out of it. Europe was a manufacturing. It was basically a manufacturing economy, and all these things have changed.
Yep.
All of them have changed desperately much. So if you have a startup company, a tech company, an AI company in Oslo, or in Copenhagen, and you grow it to 25 people, 30 people, and then you hire 3 guys in Berlin that is going to work there remotely, you already have a nightmare. Because now you suddenly have to deal with 2 tax authorities, etc. So you cannot. It's the fragmentation of Europe is the main reason why Europe is so incapable of competing internationally, because we cannot grow new companies largely anymore. That's why our new initiatives like the 28th regime, which intends to establish a common legal framework for young companies, for startup companies, for innovators, where a company can choose whether they're going to use that framework that is equal all across Europe, or they're going to use the national ones. We desperately need things like that. Europe doesn't have a joint stock market. We don't have a joint anything, nothing.
Except regulations they're pushing now.
That's the issue.
But it's funny, right? Like the things which would actually put us in forefront, right? Like joining these resources, and that is second place, and then like AI Act, the GDPR, everything of that is pushed so across the country.
Yeah, but it's the mandate that the Commission has been given.
Yeah.
If you move too far in this direction I'm talking about, you're moving towards a federation, and nobody in Europe wants that. But or some in Europe wants that. But the problem with that is very simple. If you don't give away a bit of sovereignty, you're going to lose much more sovereignty to other forces. Do you mind if let me talk about sovereignty for a moment?
Okay, cool.
One thing because we have heard politicians talking about tech sovereignty and data sovereignty. So in a sense, it's like a pyramid. In the bottom, you have scientific sovereignty or ability to operate in to develop a core scientific capacity. Yeah. The next level up, technological sovereignty, or ability to build technologies alone, or in participation in companies with, guess what, trusted partners.
Yeah.
The next one up, digital sovereignty. That's our national control of our servers and data cables, etc. That that's our sovereignty. If our data resides on American servers, we don't have digital sovereignty. The next one up, innovation sovereignty, our ability to create new initiatives and new economy based on this stack. Then you have economic sovereignty, and the economic sovereignty has to be built on technological sovereignty, data sovereignty, innovation sovereignty. If you don't have that, you don't have economic sovereignty. And then you can move further up, and at the top you have strategic sovereignty. It's the ability of a nation or a group of nations that trust each other to make independent decisions about their future. Now, if anything underneath there is gone, you don't have strategic sovereignty. And this is what we see in Europe today. And this is deeply concerning.
The fish.
So, yes, the fish. So my argument here is that we have focused way too little about the importance of technological sovereignty. We believe that we can build it all on foreign tech. And that we don't need to build our own tech. And actually, the large American tech companies, they preach to the national governments in Europe. They're saying, you cannot win this competition. They're saying it's a competition, but what you can do, you can become the best in the world on writing applications.
Right.
But just write them on top of our stack, because you don't have an alternative. And I hear a lot of people in the Commission saying the same. I hear national politicians saying the same. I hear citizens saying the same, that we have lost that competition. But the problem is, or the issue is, it is not a competition. It is about strategic sovereignty. We have to build the infrastructure that our future should be built on. And this infrastructure means that we need to build a stack. Even if we were 10 years behind the Americans or the Chinese, we still need to build a stack.
Yeah.
If not, we're not sovereign.
Yeah.
And if we fail, we fail, but at least we should try.
Yeah. Do you think Norwegians or as much as you can collaborate, as you say, Kalmar engineers, Scandinavians can do something themselves, like not wait on European Commission or fight.
No, we should never wait on the European Commission.
If you wait on European Commission, you're already lost.
No, but it's once again, let's not point at the European Commission. The responsibility is ourselves, and it's our national governments. And if they cannot talk together, they are doing their citizens a huge disservice. Really. But
what Norwegians are doing now?
Norway is not a team player in Europe. It's not. We like to stay by ourselves up in the corner as a relatively young nation, as an independent nation. But it's time to step out of that, and it's time to take a global view and say, guess what? If we should be able to build a future for ourselves and our citizens based on our values, our ethics, our ideas of how society should be, if we should be able to do that, we have to build our own technology. In order to do that, we cannot do it alone. No nation is autonomous, not even North Korea. If you try to go that path, it's a safe path towards poverty and ill health. You have to do it together with, as I said, trusted partners. And the big questions in Europe today is, who are our trusted partners? And the answer to that is obvious. It's other Europeans.
Well, you mentioned the fund, right? The Norwegian oil trust fund. So 80% or more goes to the.
I said that 80% of their tech investments go to United States.
Yeah, but you have some card on the table. I mean, like, it's not like Norwegians, as you say, or just alone. They do have some resources they could start, like giving example to others. Like. Empowering these what you say these core competencies so that we don't run on American technology like
it's but it's not only Norway, it's every nation in Europe.
Somebody needs to show example.
Well, yes, I'm glad. I would love to see that, but the first example could be to come to an agreement between some coalition of the willing here. But unless a head of state, a prime minister in Norway picks up the phone and calls another prime minister, say, let's get 4 or 5, 6, 7 of us together. I'm going to invite you up to, to a beautiful hotel up in the mountains in Norway. I'm going to stay there for 3 days and talk about the future of our children and grandchildren. That is a start. That's an initiative. That in itself, only that would help. Now, it's not a competition. It's about building infrastructure, and I believe the whole stack needs to be. Once again, nothing can be done alone. I said that who are our trusted partners? It's not only Europe. We see other liberal democracies, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, South Korea. When I was vice rector at Oslo Metropolitan University, it was under the first period of Donald Trump, and we noticed that we got more requests from universities in those countries as they saw that maybe they need to realign more towards Europe. If you look at the world today, and you have a map of the liberal democracies in the world, what you can see is that none of the liberal democracies in the world have technological sovereignty. Technology is not driven by the liberal democracies in the world. That's scary to me.
Yeah. But again, pointing fingers, right? Like your activities is something that you do, but Yeah, what do you see? What are the practical next steps? You know, like for example, let's talk something specific though. So I'm currently from Baltics. We do also have all sorts of associations. We talk constantly with governments. We go also to European Commission meetings. We should work together with your organizations much more and Norwegians. But what are some practical next steps that the listeners from different European countries could do to, you know, like join maybe your organization, or what do you see how we can get out of this chasm where we are right now?
Yeah, I do believe that companies across Europe could help organizations like Cairn, ADRA, ELIS, that works on behalf of all of Europe to lift its and give advice on how we can do things better. And for that, I think they should join as members of this. Invite companies to become gold members of Cairn.
Yeah,
that would help amazingly in developing a stronger network of scientists and technologists across Europe, and start to build the connections between European science and businesses. We should not only build applications, we should also build infrastructure.
yeah.
And there's a lot of work to be done by European companies in the years ahead. And I hope there will be substantial investments in the year ahead in building both the infrastructure and the application that is going to move Europe back up on the pinnacle of AI tech in the world. And of course, I mean, look at the huge American tech companies. They're Europeans in the top level in all of this. I mean, we have fantastic universities and fantastic technologies and fantastic environments to build this in. But I do believe, as I said, that we need coalitions of the willing among nations to get a train to start pulling. But we also need the same from companies. We really need to see some companies saying, you know what, we cannot put too much time into this, but we will help these organizations work on behalf of us.
It's always easier for especially large companies, you know, just take something that's ready from Americans, right?
Yeah.
And
but the senior management team in any European company should ask themselves the question: to which degree are we working to make the future of our children and grandchildren better? And I'm not talking now about, you know, all the other problems in the world, because there's many of them, from the environment to defense, you know. But I'm talking about the importance of how technology is reshaping Europe. Are they helping Europe reshaping the technology in little ways? Just not being blind to the situation we're in, and try to change it in smaller ways. And if all of us are changing things in smaller ways, things will start to change.
Yeah, it's not often, I think, that you know, you're focused on your business bottom lines. And how often does these board members of these large companies think in such terms? You know, like that.
Yeah.
Even technology is for the children and for the future. It's not like you know, just how much money we can make in 5 years. It's more. The other topic which I would like to discuss, if you're okay with that, like you've been very also in the academic, right?
Can I just move into one thing more before we go to that topic?
No worries, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm just gonna I'm gonna pull out. I can't remember everything that happens in the world right now because everything is moving so fast. Crazily fast, actually.
It is.
Let me just see. Yeah. Here we are. Yeah, I think what I wanted to reflect on was the following. You know that AI is seen as a driver for the economy, a driver for innovation, but also a driver and accelerator for science. And that's and also we see the enormous push from China and from American tech companies. The investment, the volume of investment is absurd, you know, and it seems like there needs to be a big payout at the end in one way or another. And what would that big payout be? Some super intelligence, you know, like the point here is that even at the level today, the level that AI is today, they can really, I mean, we have hardly started to use it. We hardly started to use it in science, in innovation and research. And it's expected that it will be an accelerator for science. And if the nation that leads in that accelerated drive, well, that's at the bottom of this sovereignty pyramid, and you know, and it will create a lot of value, economical value, as well. So there is a bet now that you need to win this race, which I believe is not a race.
Yeah, you would say that.
But that's the bet. So you see that on the 5th of December, I think, United States, the White House actually announced the Genesis mission. And a week later or so, the White House came out with their national security strategy. And it's interesting to look at both them, because the Genesis mission, which is a mission to coordinate and accelerate AI science, AI research in the States. Basically, you know, from the mission you can read that the objective is global American AI dominance. Yeah. And while this security strategy comes at similar things, but from a very different angle, it says, one of the goals is global American AI dominance, as from a security perspective. Now, that's the goal, very similar. The drivers for Genesis, one driver is AI in the center of national security. And of course, one of the drivers for the national security strategy is AI in the center of national security. Then you get to position. Genesis, AI, position is like AI accelerated dominance in science and technology, while the security strategy is power politics for the technology age. You know, using technology for security.
It's interesting that you bring up the security part as well. Like I bet that also in Norwegian military that's the same, and NATO in general. Like even with such a statement, such a document, such a strategy, it's like you know how little the AI is actually integrated in like the actual Gen AI, the latest AI models in military, right? Like because of the war on Ukraine, they suddenly started thinking about drones, right, and stuff of that sort. But there's like 10x or 100x more things they could do, but they don't have that in their military doctrine. And if you don't have something in the NATO military doctrine, you don't buy any of that. Yeah. So basically it's such a, so I think like Americans maybe are doing in some ways the right way things, but you know, like we cannot just sleep, you know, so right, or you have something to say about that?
In some ways, okay, some years ago I did run a campaign here in Norway called I've forgotten what I called it. Yeah, but it was a campaign to put pressure on the Norwegian government to take a lead internationally in driving, driving towards a international agreements on regulating the use of lethal autonomous weapons. In order for a weapon to be autonomous, it needs to be AI-driven, And the point is that it's a scary thought if you leave it to a machine to make decisions about life and death.
Yeah.
So a machine will decide, will find a target and pull the trigger. You can imagine a drone that is circling around for many days and then suddenly make a decision. Oh, I'm going to strike that house. I'm going to strike that car.
Yeah.
We got a lot of...
So you try to do something, like the Norwegians already have been active in something of that, but the reality on the ground, like in Ukraine, they do already, as I saw recently, they have the shot down drones from Russians with the NVIDIA Jetson on it, so that they already have the AI automated targeting. So basically, if the connection drops, they acquire target and it will finish the mission.
Yeah.
Also, there is also Geneva Convention, right? There is a clause that autonomous weapons should be with man in the middle. But
I have two things to say. First of all, you're getting to what I was going to say here is that, nothing can. We got a lot of supporters for this initiative, but the government didn't listen. And then we fast forward to 2022 and invasion in the Russian invasion in Ukraine, and we saw that AI is used a lot now by militaries, but the first and what it's mostly used for, and what it was used for first was really to gather situational understandings and awareness by AI is unique in being able to take like millions of data points and extracting a kind of a situational picture. So you could. So this is the first thing that happened in Ukraine, was that this way of using AI to draw a situational understanding
awareness,
of the front, I'm not sure if they're listening in on Russian cell phone calls back home, but if you couldn't do that humanly,
listen to all calls, right?
Yeah, you can with AI you could in theory listen to everything and then draw some information from it. So this is done a lot. It's done by Israel. It's done by the United States. It's done by Ukraine. It's done by anybody who wants to create this understanding. This is extremely important. That is a huge change in military operations. That also means that it's very fronts are stiffer now than before, because you have so much information. Everything happens. But then, of course, the next point then is to move. Is the question of the last mile, as they call it.
Yep.
The last mile. It's if you look at the front in Ukraine. Yep. It's a soup of electronic inference. You cannot fly anything through there and believe that you can still control a drone.
I think they call it dead man zone.
Yeah.
Like there is, I think, up to 30 kilometers an hour or something. That I've heard interviews where they poor soldiers say that they the only way to survive is just to be somewhere in underground or something, like anything that moves is automatically detected and destroyed. So
this is. I used to be a huge fan of science fiction. I read it from I was 10 years old, and what we are describing has been described in various science fiction novels as
which authors you
awful dystopia. It's dystopian, and when the Ukraine is, if Europe today has a Silicon Valley, it's in Ukraine. And it's in defense.
I totally agree. I don't think fully appreciate this statement. Many people who work on technology front, because like I run around also with some institutions in European defense funds projects. I see some partners, like large partners of military defense in Europe, like Rheinmetall, Leonardo, Indra, others. Like the things they how they work with Ukraine and these collaborations. This is basically like as you say, it's like a technology accelerator or something. Like they cannot sell many things to the NATO military because they don't recognize these things, but this is essential basically.
It's you know, in the report from Mario Draghi 2 years ago, it showed that I think Europe, I don't know how many billion euros we spent on buying American equipment, but you know it's huge. And one of the things towards technological sovereignty is or national sovereignty or European sovereignty is to build a defense sector across nations in Europe. We have the same problem in the defense sector as in the economy in general. And what we see is that just to put this very bluntly and very banal, we don't want the rather fantastic tech and defense sector in Ukraine to fall in the hands of Putin. But we don't want it to fall into the hands of Trump either. And in order for that to happen, European companies and governments should invest in the Ukrainian tech and defense sector, buy their shares, invest in it, and get ownership, and then start to integrate it. And we started by sending old equipment to Ukraine. Then we started to send new equipment to Ukraine. And now we are sending money to Ukraine so they can buy equipment from the United States. What we do, and I do have to send a shout to Espen Gadsbøl, who is the chair of the Danish tech startups, and also the person who established Defense Innovation Highway, whose sole work is to help Ukraine by helping West European and Ukrainian companies, investors, etc., to work together to build both a European and a Ukrainian defense sector based on reinvestments. The so-called Danish model, he was behind that, and now it basically sends money to Ukraine so they can buy equipment from their own defense sector instead, and to buy innovations, invest in innovations. But so far, it's hardly anybody who invests in Ukrainian technology companies because it's a country at war. Yeah. And that's why I believe Defense Innovation Highway and Espen, and I completely agree, argues that governments needs to put in guarantee or clauses or model or programs so that European investors and companies can invest there with not as high risk, with lower risk. I do believe that there is a Silicon Valley in Europe, and it's in Ukraine.
Yeah, totally agree about this Silicon Valley Ukraine war. Unfortunately, also very deadly Silicon Valley. Very, very, very sad stories. But I do see this. This is like crazy, and you also probably have seen this on news, in the private conversation, so on. Like let's say like the state-of-the-art military technology. As you said, first they sent old technology, they lost all of it or most of it. Then new technology also not succeeding as they so hoped. And now this is the latest wave, right? The deploying the state-of-the-art stuff, and it is sometimes even for me myself like a little bit like scary. And is it ethical at all? Like it's like basically I see that they get funding for research projects. They deploy something in Ukraine, and then they actually like test with real people, real lives, right? Is it ethical? Like, do you see that? I know this is the way how it is, but
I don't know. I think another way to look at it is the following. I visited a number of companies in Ukraine, and one of the engineers there told me that we take our equipment out to the front. And then we go back out to the front every second week, and we ask the users, the soldiers, how they would like to see it improve, and then we go back and change it. And then they said, I don't think many engineers in France and UK and in Germany has ever been to the front with their equipment. And so you can say it's...
But at the same time, you yourself said that these companies, they do not yet invest. They want guarantees from governments, so they don't have like fully skin in the game, but they do like to send prototypes, whatever, the funding, some tangent research, collect data, collect a lot I to see, okay, this works, that doesn't work, and actually it costs lives.
Yeah, no, I think that I do believe that national governments in Europe should introduce programs to reduce risk for investing in Ukraine. And then that's a different story than just testing out equipment in a real war scenario. But in any case, you were saying earlier that you had something else you wanted to talk about, because this was a bit of a sidetrack. If you want, you can remove it.
Yeah, we as we also don't want to like stretch it out too long, but you have all of this unique background also in academia and education. So what is the like minimal requirement you think like for competency in AI? What is needed for people to like for the students in university, high school? What they need to know?
A year ago there was a professor in the States that the OpenAI's deep research had just been released, and he was in the shower and he was thinking, I wonder if I can use this for writing a PhD thesis. And then he cleaned his calendar and he wrote one in 4 days. And then he wrote a blog post about it. And then he said, here's it is for, I don't remember, 420 pages, a PhD thesis. It's not quite there. But as he wrote, it's frighteningly close.
Frighteningly close.
Yeah. Now the point here is, this is interesting. There's many interesting components to it. Of course, he could do it because he knew what he was doing. While a PhD student, part of the process is to learn how to do it and get the insights. So the story here, one part of the story is that you need to know, you need to be smart, you need to have the competence in order to accelerate yourself. Yeah. If not, you're going to go in the ditch in one way or another. The other thing is still, I think, imagine that a PhD student in Norway has like 36 months to finish their thesis. Usually, like broadly, if I should be banal about it, they walk around in the desert for 2 years.
Yeah, and then although deadline.
And then suddenly they have 6 months to, and they panic. What if they could use? What if they were smart enough to use these technologies in order to get to a point in this between 6 and 8 months where you have you have the body of a thesis. And then you can spend the rest of the time making it excellent instead of having this panic thing, you know, making it excellent. No, that requires many things. It requires that your supervisor knows what you do. It requires that you understand what it really is and how you communicate with it. It requires that you, but you know, on the other hand, if you do it right, you can have your Socratic dialogues. You will never be in a situation where you have writer's block. You can always move things forward, but you can never leave to ChatGPT or whatever to write it for you. I mean, it can write and communicate and throw things in your face. You can have constant dialogues, and you can write and you can rewrite, and then you can get help writing. But the point here is the following. There are two reasons for writing. One reason is to communicate something in a clear way. You know, that's the least important part here. The main reason for writing is to develop concepts. You develop your own concepts and understandings and depth by writing.
So good.
It's by writing you actually become smart. You don't become smart by reading, you become smart by writing.
Is there any documented studies of this? Like somebody should you already have,
No, there is. You can search ChatGPT.
No, I mean that, you know, you maybe have seen this MIT study from Atnum where they put students in magnetic resonance, the MRI machines, and gave tasks to do, and then it was like 60% brain activity down. The 80% of students did not remember any sentence they wrote. So, but the productivity was up, right? But the brain activity down. So, and what you're saying now is that the process of formulating thoughts, writing, essential for developing your brain, developing
your concepts, your thesis, your argument.
Yeah.
And you cannot do that by having somebody else write for you.
Yeah, even if it's AI. But
so then that means that. But on the other hand, you have a dialogue. So of course, if you're my supervisor, I will talk with you, and then I will talk with the AI as I'm talking with the supervisor.
Yeah, exactly. You could.
And if you can do it this way, the supervisor can correct you if you're going down the wrong path here. But and then anything that is written by an AI, you should rewrite 10 times. And in order for you to understand it, and then
exactly, that's a good point. It's not about, like, if you just want to communicate something fast, like you have let's say some experimental results, you want to just communicate it in professional manner. You could do it with AI, very high quality, but then you yourself are missing out. And developing that part, how could you do that? Like like you have the experience, you have some kind of direction. You've been in positions of leadership in academia, like you have a university, right? And you have all these tools. How to not miss this? How to implement this?
Well, the situation here now is that the students. I mean, I think universities should basically start using them. They start using these tools.
The students are already
because the students are already doing that, and they're doing it the wrong way.
Exactly.
And that makes things much worse. So. So you have to adjust to reality, and then turn it into something else. You have to turn it into a driver for eminence and excellence and concept development and developing arguments. But that requires a type of discipline that has to be taught.
But the discipline is also a good thing. Like I mean, like how often there is a public discussion of, you know, pushing yourself in the discipline, right? Like in a university curriculum, right? Like you have typical these programs, you have all these tools, you have all the programs, right? And if you don't have the discipline, the character, you can easily fall in the trap.
That's correct. But let me give you two things. Now you have to remind me that it's two because.
Okay, cool. I will try not to interrupt you.
No. Yeah. The first thing is that if I write something. It's a product of my path, my history. Like it's a product of the math teacher I had when I was 11, and the paper I read yesterday, and the conversation I had with you. All these things. So it's a path dependency, and it's a very narrow path. And then I can talk with a supervisor, and the path becomes a bit wider, but it's still very small. And then I can increase it to my whole research team, and it becomes a bit wider, but it's still very small. I can increase it to the whole subject area, and it's still actually small because, we are all in silos, and various subject areas in academia are silos. So with AI, ideally, you could broaden it up to all knowledge of humankind, and that's as broad as you can get it.
Yep.
So you have your path dependency is just so much wider. So that's
but
fantastic.
Then you need to process it yourself. It's it's easy to broaden it with the, let's say, GPT Pro Deep Research. You have huge report.
Oh, it's true. It's like that's the point. Every tool. So the challenge is, of course, that when we got cars, we stopped walking to work. And our muscle mass is less than it was 100 years ago. When we got calculators, we lost our ability to do
five-digit number.
Calculate things in our heads. And in order to use this the right way. But on the other hand, everything became more productive. So how do we balance this? That's the one thing. The other thing that we see some research indicating is that when you use this tool, I said you broaden it out, but these tools have a tendency to go to some statistical mean, and fringe research will not probably show up. So you're losing the edge maybe of human understanding, even if it could be a crazy guy in South Korea who's thought some new thoughts that nobody cared about. But if you got to hear about it, you might find that fantastically interesting, and it might actually disappear totally when you use these tools. So here it is. We have to use different mechanisms. We have to use everything that makes humans what we are, humans.
But what should change first? The administrations, the curriculum, the exams, the students, where the change starts? Leadership.
It needs to come both from
both hands.
Yeah, because if it only comes from the top, how academia reacts to the rector saying something. They just give her the finger, and if it comes bottom up, sooner or later the organization will adapt to it. But you can accelerate it by moving it both, because academics are usually desperate for lack of strategic organization in the universities, so it can help each other. But this is a complex issue, and as much as there is AI hype in the world today, there is a lot of anti-AI hype. And what I was talking about now, there is no middle ground. There's either you're hyping AI as the accelerator of science, or you're hyping it as destroying our ability to do science. The real truth is somewhere in the middle, but that middle it's a minefield now to have this discussion. Don't put your head out. Yeah.
So anti-AI hype, you've seen these AI-generated music, AI-generated ads, like Coca-Cola ad, fully Nike ad, fully. There's hate for AI content and so on, but it's coming, the train has already left the station. So
somebody's going to do it, and you need to. I'm as concerned about the anti-AI hype as I am concerned about the AI hype, and I'm very concerned about both.
Yeah. So it's you're absolutely right. I don't hear enough public discussion about anti-AI hype, but there is things. It's rising.
There are people who make a career out of being very upset about AI, both in academia and outside.
Yeah. And it's not even like just like prohibiting using things, but basically it's like the whole sense of like. You know, it at the end hurts themselves and the institutions and everybody.
Yeah, but we didn't go into regulations. You know, the reality is that Europe and the United States have very different approaches to regulation. But I do believe technology needs to be regulated. I'm not sure if we do it the right way. I don't think we do it the right way, but...
To remember, the OpenAI, the Sam Altman in the previous Biden administration comes in the Senate hearing and then says like, okay, we are dangerous, regulate us, like we need regulation, like, and then you just see through this, like you see like a big pharma, right? Like just try to make a startup in big pharma. Good luck, right?
Yeah.
Like you have such a high threshold of entering the market, and they just want to like establish themselves.
You know, that was a way of pulling the ladder up after themselves.
Yes. Like it's like if I see the AI companies, like the large ones, going in like and saying that we need to have regulation, automatically, most likely, we need opposite right now.
Yeah, so. I don't want to listen to the big techs saying this, but we do need regulations, obviously. If not, Europe is going to be run by Palantir, and you know.
That's a different kind of regulations.
Still scary. So yes.
No, but that's the point. Like, I mean, you are also read probably carefully the AI Act and these things. So they, like I'm also like amazed, like how they can miss. You know, like you've been maybe probably recently in America. They have these cities where you have fully autonomous, like taxis. You just call it Waymo with the phone, Tesla with the phone. Nobody drives and. It is coming for the logistics industry, for everybody, like, and AI Act is zero about implications on job market, implications on anything of that sort, and they have like everything on like biometrics, like manipulations, emotions. What is like you get the point, like the regulations, but very different direction, right?
Yes, yeah, it is. But here's a comment about autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
Let's say we change all the vehicles in the world to autonomous vehicles, and 300,000 people every year was killed by autonomous cars. Would we still do it?
Compare the statistics with the human drivers, probably,
Yes, because like I think it's like 1.3 million that is killed every year in traffic. Now, challenge is that this distribution is not even. I mean, safety is very high in Norway and very low in some other countries, but still. However, how many people in Europe work in the transport? How many chauffeurs are there?
Like
or in the States, you know,
exactly.
in the States, in many of the states in the United States, it's the largest employment. Drive trucks. Yeah. So. We might, you know, who's gonna reap the economic benefits about removing all those jobs?
Yeah. That's kind of regulation where it makes sense, right? But just to regulate your governance of your data sets, how you like is it like discriminatory, like all sorts of like how you can actually and then you have certification. You know, you read the high risk. Like high risk is everything that makes money basically, and you need to have certification. Exactly what OpenAI wanted to have in America, like certify us, put us the bar so that nobody can touch us. So.
My grandfather, Paul Ellman Olsen, he was a tinsmith. You don't see many tinsmiths anymore, or barrel makers, or record store attendants, and that's fine. But the transition happened over so many years. And we lived in societies that actually were able to turn this into wealth and welfare for most of society. But what is happening now is difficult because it happens all over the world at the same time in a very short period of time by an extreme concentration of power and wealth.
Yeah.
While before it wasn't that extreme, even if some people got rich, we actually created welfare and wealth for all of us.
Yeah.
And if we cannot do that moving forward, we're going absolutely in the wrong direction. If we can, there is probably green pastures for humankind in the future if we go in this direction. But then that requires societal management. It requires political acumen. And
very different kind of regulation than right now.
Yeah. Today's regulation is all about it's a lot about securing the rights of European citizens. That's definitely something we need to secure. But then we have to find out how do we do that without stifling innovation. Yeah. But we do need to secure the rights of citizens.
Also, the securing rights, that's another huge topic. With you, basically, it is. I love talking with you. We need to start wrapping up because, but in general, like I had a ton of questions, and then each question turns out into lecture, but it's a good way, like huge discussion. So it's I love the depth of every question. Hopefully the listeners also would appreciate that. We definitely need, when you come to Oslo again, we need to talk more. I'd
love to talk more with you. So welcome back to Oslo whenever that happens. And thank you so much for...
Let's do a quick round of shorter questions. We'll see how that goes. And if something we can edit with AI. So anyways, but it'll be good. What is more dangerous, underestimating AI or overestimating AI?
Yeah, it's equally dangerous.
What's the buzzword in AI tech space you would like to disappear for a while?
I don't know if it's a buzzword, but it's like... trust us.
If you would replace word innovation with something else, would be more understandable, what could be?
Value creation.
Good. What's the thing that you go into meetings, right, with European Commission, whatever, and something is being said, and then you know, oh, it's going to be a long meeting. What's the one thing that signals you?
It's when the person who runs the meeting doesn't define the agenda clearly at the meeting.
Agenda? Okay, no, we need to sit down.
No, agenda means like, hey, we're going to spend half an hour and we're gonna discuss the following with the objective of. Yeah. If we can do that, great.
I know. Actually, I'm not making fun of this. I know this is good, great practice. But you're right. If somebody comes with the agenda and you already lists,
I'm not. It's nice to chat about everything, but I'll do that with my friends.
Yeah. Is there anything impressive that you've seen with AI done outside the language models?
Isn't it impressive to see what it does with images and music? And it's absurd. We couldn't even imagine this. I taught one AI course in 1991 in the United States on AI and creativity. 1991. And I was impressed even then. And can you imagine where we are today?
Wow. Yeah. Well, that would be a great course. Yeah, so so let's do quick, shorter ones. The early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Mountains or ocean?
Mountains.
Mountains, okay. Paper, notebook or app?
Paper.
Audiobooks or physical books?
Depends if I'm going on a long trip or not. I love paper.
Big plans or small experiments?
Both. That is, you move in both directions. You need both in order to succeed.
Optimist or realist on Tuesday?
No, optimism is the most realistic you can be.
Move fast or think twice?
That's a cycle. You switch between them all the time.
I like that every question or becomes both. That's good. So there was somewhere mentioned that you have every week adventure, right? Or something like that. You do, or not?
Every week an adventure.
Yeah, every day adventure or something.
Oh, you know, what's my adventure? I don't know if it's an adventure, but the highlight every day is to hold around my wife. In the morning, a kiss and a cup of coffee, and we sit there and talk. Or in the evening, something else.
That's good. What's your most useful but boring habit you do?
It's walking. Go for a walk.
It helps?
It's wonderful. Makes you think. That and the shower in the morning makes you think.
Okay. What if your calendar could talk? What it would complain? Say
Not
about
more. Not anymore.
It's enough.
It's enough.
What do you do when you're stuck? Walk, run, swim, go
if
take
I'm
a bath?
stuck,
Yeah.
I walk.
Yeah.
And then I maybe go in a dialogue with ChatGPT.
Dialogue with ChatGPT?
That unstucks me.
Unstucks you?
Yeah. Getting unstuck.
What's some of the most unexpected sources where you get new inspiration ideas?
No, it's not unexpected, but I do get inspirations by talking with people, talking with AI, and by getting bored.
Getting bored. That's so good.
Boredom is a fantastic source for inspiration. Some years ago, before you could bring your laptop and do all the work on planes, I used to live in Vancouver and my wife lived in Brussels. I don't think it was 9 hours, whatever. I once forgot to bring anything on board, and I couldn't sleep. And you're on a plane. It's completely, after a couple of hours, your brain just starts to operate on itself. You cannot help it. That's fantastic. I am a fan of boredom.
And it's also for kids, you give them, games, videos, whatever, the creativity turns off.
Yeah.
The boredom.
Let them get bored and they will do things.
That's an awesome advice. What's something that you learned in Canada, what you didn't learn in Norway?
Yeah, I learned manners. International manners. Canada is it's a global country. And I learned that jokes don't translate.
Norwegian or Canada jokes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
If you could outsource some of your chores that you need to do every day to this amazing AI assistant, robot, whatever, what could it be?
I don't want to outsource anything to AI. I want to do things myself. Yeah, I just want a help on the way. I want a dialogue and a partner, not a servant.
Is there any Norwegian word that is impossible to translate? That is necessary?
Dannelse.
What it means?
Well,
they cannot translate.
Exactly.
You've been around many countries. What's the most culture shock you ever had?
Moving back to Norway.
Back to home.
Yeah, back to Norway. That's an enormous culture shock. Worse than it was harder to move to Norway than to any other countries I moved to.
What's the tiny thing that immediately makes your day a success?
A smile.
Smile.
A hug sometimes.
Excellent. So fresh takes, so good stuff. I think we could talk hours. Thanks for joining. And
well, thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Keep on doing your good work.
Yeah, we'll do that. And you too. Okay. Thanks for joining the episode of AI Ranch. As a gratitude for work, subscribe, share, and see you in the next one.